Is Doom the Dark Ages a good game? Yes, it is a good game, but is it as good or better than Eternal in 2016 Doom? That depends on your gaming tastes. For me, I prefer Eternal in 2016 over Dark Ages, but I appreciate how each Doom is a different type of Doom than the last. I don't think people expected a prequel to 2016 and Eternal, and Dark Ages came out with this dark medieval theme that is just too good to ignore. Definitely a great fucking concept for Doom. They did very well with it. And, you know, from the weapon designs and gear and the weapons themselves, the whole aesthetic was just so fucking metal and just so fucking great to just look at and experience. And just, it was just fucking baller, right? So, why didn't I like it like the previous games? The story absolutely, you know, it has more story than the previous games, right? But it has the story has more potential to expand on so much, but they did so little with it because it's literally just you going somewhere, destroying some menial bullshit, going from place to place, and that's that's really it. Um, you know, maybe like it doesn't compare to like, you know, Eternals DLCs where it had some real story in there. But for me, Dark Ages combat I didn't truly enjoy. I couldn't really get the hang of it because I didn't truly enjoy it. I didn't vibe with it, right? It was just so weird for me to play this entire game and not vibe with it, right? I thought the weapons were cool. I thought the abilities and everything, the melee stuff, you know, was awesome for a time. I just did not truly enjoy the flow of game after, you know, all the sparkle and luster and cool factor disappeared. Maybe it was how open the world was and how, you know, boring it was because you can't really double jump or like that, right? So they had to make the maps, you know, a little bit more boring and plain. The most you'll do is probably like, you know, swim from, you know, platform to platform in certain maps, or jump all the way down, or you know, unlock some bullshit with, you know, some really simple maneuver. I was too lazy to even just go ahead and run around and do any of that, because I just wanted to get through the game, and you know, nothing really intrigued me enough to explore the game more. And halfway through, when I'm like, damn, I really should have gone around and get more gold and stuff, right? Because I can't really refund, like, you know, the weapons. I went ahead and upgraded, and then I got even better guns that I vibe with a little bit more. It just sort of like I wasn't feeling like going back to play those, you know, more boring maps, right? Speaking of lackluster and boring, the robot fights, the fucking Hell Dragon thing, Hell Drake missions, right? You know, after a while, you know, they lose their awe and, you know, cool factor, and the missions are pretty repetitive and kind of boring and, you know, kind of one note. It kind of is really fucking it's really you know, disappointing. The robot fights, you're just beating up everything with simple moves and specials to get to the point A to the point B. Helldrake missions are going to point A, shoot the thing, blocking point A, land, kill everything between point A and point B, get back on Helldrake, rinse and repeat, right? It's not the most incredibly enhanced, you know, testosterone, adrenaline filled gameplay, right? And that's what really gets me. They could have had so much cool shit, like even with the Helldrake dragon, you know, missions, right? If you're not doing like the main, you know, quest, or, you know, the main objective, you're just flying around. You're just flying around, not doing anything. And then I guess the devs realize, you know, without that, there's really nothing for you to do. So they just have like this monster fly around here and there for you to shoot for like 30 seconds before you might kill it, before it might lose you. Who knows, right? It's not incredibly crazy. They even have like some titans sprinkled here and there, but they're not really a threat. And, you know, who the fuck cares? The animation for killing them is cool, but again, who the fuck cares, right? Honestly, I got kind of tired of always having to counter and spam the block button and, you know, fucking try to counter and deal with all the gimmicks of the enemies being thrown at me. And at some point, everything just melded together, right? But was it all bad? Fuck no. Like, I did find myself in that flow state of fun and killing demons for me. Uh, you know, but for me, like, I can't speak. But for me, it wasn't as satisfying as the previous two games because, of course, they took away glory kills. They're not present besides maybe a few sprinkled executions and kills for a few monsters, which I thought was fine. But I preferred being that quick and fast lethal monster, being that fucking terror that demons, wake up in the middle of the night, having nightmares of and shit, right? You really do feel like a tank in this, though. And I gotta give the devs props for it, because you can actually just full on decimate demons one by one in slow, calculative, fashion, right? I think this style of Doom felt really good with the bigger, heavier enemies and was okay when dealing with like an entire room of enemies, especially with no real movement options. You're just parrying and moving around out of attacks, or blocking them wholeheartedly or whatever, right? It sometimes gets really tiring though, dealing with all the gimmicks and moving around and trying to parry everything and trying not to get hit, right? With no real movement options, there's no real like adrenaline going through you. You're just moving away, parrying. It's just not the best, but you can go ahead and change with settings a lot, like the parry window, the game speed, etc., right? In the game, I personally really enjoyed the super shotgun, and of course, it's a fucking classic. You got to have that, and the cycler, which was just a big fucking shredder of enemies, and especially when you upgrade it too, very useful, very useful. I fully upgraded my ground fissure, and before I got the mace, I was using the flail, but I preferred the mace. I really enjoyed being able to destroy the fuck out of anybody in my path with that mace, right? It was slow, but it was powerful, and I really enjoyed it. But honestly, I think besides like the bow, the big fucking crossbow, I think a lot of the weapons we get just should have been pickable, right? Because a lot of the weapons we get, I didn't really use a lot of it, right? I only use it maybe when I accidentally went ahead and flicked on it, or I went ahead and wanted to use it for this specific boss, like the rocket launcher, of course, fucking him up and destroying them with rocket launcher from a distance, and having to be kind of like strategic when it comes to like certain stages that I was having trouble with, shit like that, right? A lot of the weapons just, in previous games, a lot of them have different functions, like you would use them for different scenarios and different situations. But in this game, like, you can go through the game with pretty much just one or two weapons, right? If you really just don't care to cycle your weapons, you really don't need to, right? This game is pretty open worldy, sandboxy, and personally, I think picking a new weapon at certain intervals of the game based on the gold and the stuff you unlock can really make the game even like more replayable, and make the gameplay a little bit better. Especially since there's a reason for you to go back and get the rubies and wraith stones to upgrade everything, because now you're not just blindly looking at like at what feels the best when in terms of like the upgrades and the weapon when you eventually do get it, because if you're not getting gold in the early stages of the game and not trying to like upgrade everything, or like explore the entire map, you probably aren't going to like upgrade the entire upgrade list, or max everything out, or you might max maybe like one or two things, maybe three, if you're just running through the game. But that's really about it, honestly. Like, I didn't max out everything for me. I'm pretty sure I didn't max out my my shield, or like some other bullshit, right? But I did max out my ground fissure, and I think the super shotgun, I'm pretty sure, and maybe something else, maybe the cycler, or maybe I was missing something for the super shotgun. I'm not entirely sure. I'm pretty sure I went ahead and upgraded three things fully, but it's like, again, like, if I could go ahead and focus on like 2-3 weapons at a time, and not spend my gold on things that later on I didn't really need, that would have been fucking nice. But unless you're playing harder difficulties and need those upgrades to survive, you can really just play the game with two, maybe three weapons tops with the gameplay and everything going on, right? It doesn't really force you to really play other weapons really much because because of all the gimmicks like allow you to have some sort of leeway to get towards that enemy or that's in the distance or something, right? Because you're always on the move, destroying everything one by one. So you're basically just running forward, saying, "I'll get there when I get there. Wait for me before I beat your ass." Right? That's really it. But even so, I thought everything else was cool. But if you're just playing a game to complete it like me, just running through the story and not gathering the shit you got it to upgrade your weapons, you're going to miss some shit and you're going to go ahead and maybe struggle a little bit if you're on the higher difficulties. I know I did, right? I don't play Doom to explore and do puzzles. I just want to kill demons in fun, crazy, gruesome ways because that's what they deserve, you know? Not like I'm not doing my part and, fucking them up. It's just that, it's just everything in this game like screams this could be better. Honestly, it could be better. I did start the game on Nightmare, and halfway through, I honestly had to, downgrade the difficulty because I was not having fun. The game's gimmick is stand and fight, but holy God, Nightmare, you got to play it like it's Eternal 2016, jumping around and trying to survive as much as possible because you get shot in the back and die half the time. That's really it. I lowered it because I just wanted to have some fun. I wanted to feel that stand and fight in higher difficulties. It was fine when fighting like the bigger, like tougher enemies, but when you're like in a whole room full of enemies, it fucking sucks. It's a bit of a struggle. They even had to go ahead and come out with an update to lower the amount of literal back shots you get on higher difficulties, which is fucking nuts. The story itself is pretty interesting, but the way they portrayed the story fucking sucks, right? Like Doomslayer being the slave of the makers and sent down to deal with the assaults by a demon who wishes to rule the other demons, but needs absolute power to do so. We find out Thera houses a god the ancient sentinels pray to or something. Azrak, the big bad evil demon guy, with the help of a witch, takes her power and to get even stronger and becomes, I guess, kind of godlike, I guess. I'm not gonna lie, fighting him was pretty fucking cool. And that's really it. Like throughout the entire story, you're just doing stuff to get to the next, story progression cutscene. That's really it. You're just trying to put Doomslayer in the spot he needs to be to further the story, right? Like there's nothing, like you're doing technically story stuff, right? But there's nothing actually of substance there, right? You're just doing random stuff to get yourself into a position to get to the next cutscene, right? Or just to trigger it, right? But there are some really cool stuff here too. Like honestly, seeing Undead Doomslayer was dope. The boss battles for the most part are cool, I guess. I think the leader bosses where you got to destroy the morale of demons before killing the leader. It's fucking dumb to me. It's fucking dumb to me. Why not have it to where you can damage the leader, but the damage to him is reduced because of the spell being tied to the amount of demons under its command. So fighting the demons around him is advisable, but killing that demon will go ahead and cause the other one. Like it's either or. You can either destroy this demon who's really hard to kill because of this fucking spell, or you just kill all the smaller demons and all the the demons this bigger demon commands, and then that one will be significantly weaker, right? That could have been really fun to strategize on what you want to do, right? But everything is pretty much run and gun, which is it's fine too. It's fine too. I'm not really super complaining about it. It's just a little bit of a nitpick. To be honest, the music was god awful and uninspiring. Like what these guys did to Mick Gordon was a travesty. Mick and Doom were like peanut butter and jelly, and they ripped it away from us with such bullshit, right? The maps looked cool. The worlds were pretty unique and dope, but they had no substance to it, to where like I remember how cool they were, but they weren't really memorable. Like even right now, it's been like a few days. I had to go ahead and like, you know, fight for Super Earth for a while. So the only real map I remember is like the dungeon map and like some parts of hell, and you know, the Sentinel, some of the Sentinel castles and stuff, that bases or whatever that we were at, maybe the forest too. But nothing really stuck out to me as something, wow, that's fucking sick, right? I'm gonna remember this for a while. And honestly, that's not really the case here. I did enjoy the squid world of gods and beings, but overall, it was just another destination on the map, and nothing truly engaging happens there besides, you know, cutscene story stuff. That's really fucking it. There's no real. The rule of cool happens a lot. Like there's a lot of aura farming in this game, which is pretty funny and pretty cool. But the gameplay itself doesn't give you enough cool shit to do, right? Like this game is more of a sandbox, create your perfect Doom experience with its access to so many options to switch up the gameplay and how you want to be challenged. You know, how crazy you want it, how intense you want it, whatever your heart feels like, right? Which is cool, but personally, I just did not use it at all, besides raising the gameplay speed. But everything else, you know, I didn't have a need for all this, you know, bullshit, right? All this stuff in the middle. I just wanted a power fantasy, you know, Doomslayer game, for fuck's sake. And, you know, I kind of got that, but not in the way I expected. And it was disappointing to me. Like this game feels like Doom, the dark sandbox, because the only real shining light is the semi-interesting story. But the way the way they did it, the way they portrayed it just was not the best, right? Like a story of a young Doomslayer in this dope dark medieval theme of a game, you know, like there's so much creativity that you can go ahead and have with like dark medieval stuff. It's creative kill central, but no, you'd expect old God of War, hell, even new God of War style kills and gores, but that's only really in cutscenes. Like he's not really cruel. He's not really cruel when it comes to gameplay, but when it comes to cutscenes, like he'll go ahead and fuck your shit up. I think what the gameplay really lacked was like the feeling of hatred the Slayer has for demons, right? Like that's what the glory kills try to convey, but with them out of the game, it feels just like a game. Like you just killing demons, and you know you're just getting to the next cutscene. There's nothing in between that gives you that feeling of being the Doom Slayer, right? It's after a while it gets repetitive and it gets, you know, samey, right? Maybe if there was like a fear mechanic where the more you kill mercilessly with melee weapons and the more bloodthirsty the Slayer get, you would feel that hatred with the HUD, the redness of the screen, the subtle white noise in the background, your melee kills having longer animations with extra hits and grunts, shit like that to add to the hatred and anger the Slayer has for demons. That could have been fucking sick. I do feel like they could have done more with the mech combat too. Crazy glory kills, their actual giant weapons to use instead of just a gun at the end of the stage, countering an enemy's attack instead of just dodge and punch and special move, I guess. Environmental kills too, or, you know, just helping out the ground forces of the Sentinels fight back against the demons. There was none of that shit there. Even like the Helldrake missions could have been better with like dog fights. Like I don't count following that fucking demon in a scripted path as a dog fight, by the way. The side objectives to help the Sentinels, using your weapons to kill enemies to the side of you, through counters or whatever, jumping on enemies yourself and killing titans and other monstrosities with your bare hands could have been much more fun and interesting to see than just dodge, this, attack, counter, destroy, land. That's really it. It's a shame that they could have done some crazy ass shit with the Doomslayer being such a menace, similar to God of War 3, Kratos destroying and dismantling titans and other bigger, stronger demons. The impression I got from everything Eternal in 2016 hinted at with the Slayer is that he would take down all these demons in awesome, glorious fashion, whether by hand or by any means. He'll go ahead and decimate them all and just, you know, full on just destroy them. He would go ahead, like that's what the glory kills, you know, showed to us that he would go ahead and decimate a demon in some of the most gruesome ways that actually traumatizes other demons, right? The way they talk about the Doomslayer is him being able to he is what haunts them at night, or whatever night is consisted of in hell, right? He is what they fucking fear. But it just didn't feel like gameplay wise, someone that is, fearful. He was just killing demons in some of the most normal ass ways possible, just shooting and smacking them with melee weapons. Like, he was unstoppable for sure. But it didn't feel, it was like, it's like playing Batman and just running around everywhere, just punching everybody in the face. Like, there's no fear factor to that, right? So yeah, that's how I feel about the game. Overall, I do feel like this game is fun and a good Doom game, but not a style of Doom I prefer. It's still a solid 7 out of 10, and it's great fun. It is great fun. Honestly, the weapons could have been better. The upgrades could have been better. The maps, like actual traversal and everything, could have been better. Their insistence on taking away glory kills in a dark medieval sort of theme, it's fucking crazy, right? It's nuts. But what did you guys think of the game? I know people are either mixed on it or saying it's like one of the best games out there, better than 2016 and Eternal. So tell me, what do you guys think in the comments below? This is the end of the video. Stay safe and healthy mentally, emotionally, and physically. See you guys next time. Peace. And if you're enjoying the content, look at the other videos I have up right now. I went ahead and finished up my own review and sort of like questions and stuff of The Last of Us season 2, and there's plenty of other videos to go around. So I hope you enjoy your day, have a great time, and see you guys next time. Peace.